much. Again, good morning, everybody, and thank you for inviting me to speak to you guys about Microsoft Azure Fundamentals. Like Oluwaseun has rightly mentioned, my name is Kazeem Adegboyega, and you can look me up on Twitter. You can look me up on across the social media. So my handle is Kazeem Can Teach, or just Kazeem Adegboyega. All right, so let's get straight at it now. Microsoft Azure Fundamental Overview. So because I have just 15 minutes now, so there's so much I can only cover in 15 minutes. So let's hope I can be quick enough to run through these objectives. There won't be any demo because of the short time now. So I'll just talk about the 3 types of MS certification. We'll look at the AZ 900 exam itself. Whether the Azure Fundamental certification is worth it, and why we need to learn Microsoft Azure, regardless of your career, which of the career path you want to choose, whether as an administrator, as a developer, or if you have interest in security. So I'm going to kick things off with an overview of the AZ 900 certification, the Microsoft Azure Fundamentals. When you want to write the certification and you walk into a testing center, you can write via person, that's VUE, or you write via a Certiport certified center, which of course LASU CBT is a certified center. So when you've gone through your training, so you can come to the center to write any of those your desired certification. So it is called AZ 900 for short, right? So the AZ 900 certification is for those who are brand new to Azure. So if you're new to Azure, then this certification is meant for you. So it is an entry-level certification that validates people's skills in basic cloud computing concepts. Not to also think that the certification is not going to be looking at any practicals at all, because here people also tend to get it a little wrong. They think that when they want to start their career in IT, the best place they want to start is those very top level certification, and that's a wrong approach, right? So it's best to have a very solid foundation, and then you can build on top of it. In fact, it is more, I would recommend that you even go for an AZ 900 certification, and then you can choose to learn the likes of AZ 100 if you're looking at the administrator part, or if you're looking at the developers part or the AI part, say AZ 200, you can learn those yourself, right? Because it gives you that basics that you can build upon at a later time, right? So unlike the other certification types now, the other Microsoft certification, the AZ 900 is a standalone certification. So it's a standalone certification because it does not require you to do some certification before it or another certification after it. It's just a standalone certification. You pass the certification, you're good to go. So you can then move to some other certification, say some other Azure certification types. So I want to assume, I want to believe that some of the people on the call might be new to Microsoft certification. So Microsoft certification are of 3 types, right? We have the fundamental certification, and the fundamental certification, like I mentioned, try to teach about those fundamentals, those entry-level topics, so to speak. So that's what the fundamental certification covers. So it validates and teaches fundamental concepts, right? And you also have those role-based certifications. That's number 2. Role-based certification, after doing a fundamental certification, and there are other ones, by the way. For instance, we have certification from MTA, Microsoft Technology Associates. So that's another route that you can choose to follow. Whether you want to be a developer, there's an MTA certification for developers. Whether you want to be a network administrator, or you want to be a security professional, or you want to be a web developer, right? So you have MTA certification. You can look it up, right? MTA. So you have MTA certification that will fit your need that you can, subscribe to. But for this one, fundamental is one, role-based is another. So for role-based, it validates and teaches more complex concepts, right? And it prepares people for specific job roles. Now, the fundamental gives you an overview of cloud generally. So you're going to, touch on things like, how to use GitHub, how to work with app service, how to build, different kind of apps, talking about mobile apps, talking about web apps, how to create VMs across the different platforms, whether you want to build it on a Windows platform or you want to build it on Linux. You get the picture. So it touches everything. So after that, now you might want to now say you want to go specific. I feel, I want to follow more of a security path. Oh, I feel I want to follow more of a developer's path. Then you choose a role-based certification that meets your need, that is aligned with your goal, right? And then you have the expert certifications, right? So that one validates in-depth, more in-depth technical skills, now. So those are the three certification types that we have now from Microsoft. And we also have the exams. Let's talk about the exam itself now. So if your goal is to pass the AZ 900 exam, well, you need to know that the passing score, not just AZ 900, by the way, any of the Microsoft certification that you want to do, the passing score is 700. So all you need is a 700 to pass. And, you don't need to worry. There's no difference between somebody who scored a 900 and somebody who scored a 700. And I would advise that you don't form the habit of cheating, in exams. People use, what is called DOMS, now to cheat to pass certification exams. So that's, in IT, it isn't about how many certifications that you have. It is more about what you can do. Certifications is only going to open the door for you, but bottom line, what can you do is what really matters. I mean, if, for instance, you want to be one of the team members at the CBT, I need to have somebody, I need to employ someone now to join the team. Whether the person has 50 certifications, I'm not interested, right? Well, maybe that 50 certification can give the person, that opportunity for me to be able to talk, to speak with the person, but it boils down to, can you do this? Let me test, what you have upstairs. So let's be sure that skill acquisition first, then before certification. Right, certification is important, but what is more important is skill acquisition. And I cannot also overemphasize the importance of experience. So experience, you are not going to get that in training. Experience, you are not going to get it when you only, join the community and, be active. Yes, you can get some bit of it because it means that if you have a project going on, you can contribute to the project. But experience you are going to get by working for people. So you should not mind, never mind when you're starting out, you've acquired the skills. The next thing is for you to gather experience. So never mind giving out your time for free. So when people call you and you feel they're cheating you, don't worry, for as long as the project that you're a part of is a very credible project, is a project that will allow you learn from people, that will allow you network with people. So networking, very, very key, right? So then you can at the later time say that you've acquired enough experience to go and now start making money. So please, that is very important. The place of experience, you cannot buy that one. You can't buy it in training. You need to work with people. You need to collaborate with people in order for you to be able to get that one. So the exam itself it comes with between 40 to 60 questions, depending. So the questions, sometimes Microsoft shuffles it. And so that's the range. And they're usually multiple choice questions. And well, maybe for the AZ900 is a little easy compared to some of the other Azure certification types. For the other certifications, you are going to really be tested. So it's not a scenario where you can even just pass with just reading dumps, right? So you need to use dump to prepare for your exams, so that when you're flipping through the dumps, you might miss some questions, but at least you have an idea, because the answers are usually very closely related, right? So the exams, Microsoft exams now generally are exams where your skills are being tested in the exams as well. For instance, you can be asked to create, to set up, let's call it maybe to set up a VM, maybe to create an app service. You get the picture. You're going to be asked to do all of that in the exams as well, right? And the cost of the exam, well, $99, sometimes depending on the region, African region, sometimes if you're lucky, you can get it cheaper than this price. And if you also work with Sean closely and his colleagues, as a Microsoft student ambassador, so I'm sure, you'll get vouchers from Microsoft to write some certification exams. And if you also keep active with the community, there are times when we get a number of free vouchers now to give out. From time to time, Microsoft give me vouchers, that we can hand out to people, or Azure credits. Azure isn't free, right? So sometimes, I can get, say, 300 Azure credits. For instance, there will be next year now we'll be preparing for. Right now, there is a Microsoft Azure Developer Bootcamp going on. Next year, there's going to be, another Azure Bootcamp. So where, of course, we know one of the things that we benefit from being an active member of Microsoft community is that we tend to have access to plenty swags and, also freebies, right? So, so work with you and the colleagues, and maybe you can reach out to me too as well if you need some of those goodies as well. So talking about whether Azure Fundamental is worth it or not, well, here are some points that I've put together. Azure Cloud has over 33% of the market share, right? So when you look at the cloud, we have so many players, in the cloud market. Of course, we like to talk about the AWS, we like to talk about the Oracle, and so on and so forth, right? We like to talk about the Google Cloud, but in the past, it used to be, all the talk is all around AWS, but it is good to know now that Microsoft is right ahead of AWS, controlling 33% of the market share, just ahead of AWS, controlling 32%. So it means that when you acquire the Azure skills, there's plenty of opportunities. It opens up plenty of opportunities. And it's not only local here. That's one very good thing about certifications. Regardless of where you find yourself, you can decide to, you might decide to travel tomorrow. You might want to travel to Canada, or wherever you are. Certification stays valid. It remains the same whether you're here in Nigeria or anywhere at all in the world, right? So we also know that Microsoft Azure is used by big companies, Fortune 500 companies, medium companies, small companies, all around the globe leverage Microsoft Azure, right? So it's even when we talk about the SaaS part of it, software as a service, is the most widely used, the most data generated in the world today. You'll find it on the Office 365 or the Microsoft 365 platform, right? So there's plenty of opportunity in the Azure space, for people, for you as a developer, for you as an administrator, right? So also cloud computing is among the top 10 in-demand tech job of 2020. So you can look it up, just bring up your Bing, right? We don't like, we Microsoft people, we don't like to say Google, we like to say Bing. So you Bing it up, look it up on Bing, you see it right there, right? Top 10 in-demand skills. So if you need job, you are planning to travel to Canada and you're wondering, if I acquire this certification and I look for a job, is it going to be easy for me to find a job? yes, it is going to be easy for you to find a job with Azure credentials, right? And when you also look up global knowledge reports, there's this body, they also offer training as well, global knowledge. So according to their reports, Azure, even just Azure Fundamentals, not even those advanced Azure certification, just having Azure Fundamentals alone is among the top paying certification. As a result of having the certification, you will be ranked among those, who are well paid. And it doesn't also matter if you like to train. What I do, I also train sometimes. Well, maybe now my role has shifted. I've been doing this for a very long time now, but I also train in between. And you also know, for you to be an MCT, a Microsoft trainer, it's not just people that will be reading textbooks to your hearings. A good Microsoft trainer would have very in-depth technical skills. So there are times when you find them working on projects. They might be working on projects for, maybe 2 years. So they might not be training because, working on projects for that period of time. So it is more of training what they know, really impacting what they already know. So there's a difference here. So a Microsoft certified trainer, most of the time, the good one, not now. Now it's very easy to get the MCT. I mean, when I got my MCT back then, I think it was 2008, right? So then it was a little difficult, right? You need to do it, but now it's pretty easy. But bottom line, a Microsoft certified, a true Microsoft certified trainer will have blended skill, 50 to 50 skill of on-the-job experience and then teaching qualities. Some people, they are very good at what they do, but they just don't know how to impart knowledge. They just not their thing. Whereas some people might be very good and know how to train. When you see them gesticulating, you see them very good communicators, but maybe they lack technical qualities. So those kind of people are not qualified as Microsoft trainers. So Microsoft trainers have a blend, 50 to 50 blend of both, right? So let's quickly, I'll wrap up with this. I think my time is almost over now. Sean, can I still go on? Do I still have some 5-10 minutes to wrap up, or do I need to wrap up now?
Yeah. You can go on. We are enjoying this section, sir.
Okay. Yeah. Very well then. Bear in mind that the certification to itself, that's the AZ900. I mean, I don't want to talk about the AZ900 without referring you to the Microsoft Learn website. Sean has done a fantastic job walking you through the Microsoft Learn website. So if your interest is passing the AZ900 certification, then be sure to make the Microsoft Learn your very good friend, because Azure certification, just like any other cloud certification, changes every so often. That's one thing that is a big deal with the cloud. So if you are not ready to be on your toes, continuous learning is the key here. So if you don't have that attitude, then forget about cloud. Cloud computing isn't for you. So you'll find out that, with other certification types, when they want to prepare the manuals, even the MOCs, the Microsoft official curriculum now, they will have manuals prepared, and then the labs would be inside the manual. But for cloud, it's not possible. So they would have to put it there on GitHub because it changes every so often. So when there's a new change to it, they'll push it up, in GitHub for people to be able to pull down from there. So please visit Microsoft Learn to see what the exam is. The exam, by the way, is broken into 4 different domains. Let's see if I talk about this why Azure Learn, then I'll just try to wrap up with the Microsoft Learn to show you the objectives on Microsoft Learn. Yeah. So why you need to learn Azure, whether you are a developer now, you might be wondering, Azure, people say, Microsoft, I just don't like Microsoft because of their integration. What happens if I'm not a .NET developer? So it really doesn't matter, right? So there is very good integration with regardless of the kind of tools that you're using to build your app. You have very nice integration built into Azure. We know, yes, if you are coding .NET, then that's a no-brainer. It just comes out of the box, with Azure. However, if you're thinking of using other technologies, well, Azure comes with what is known as API management, so which ensures that you have very good integration and collaboration with many apps, on the Azure platform, right? Another one is DevOps, right? Well, DevOps is a concept that help bring people together. It helps create this delegation of responsibility, so to speak. If you're a developer and you need to write a software, somebody calls you now to build a learning management system. You don't want to just be doing everything all by yourself alone. It would be nice, to say, oh, I'm going to handle the DevOps part of it. I'm going to let somebody else handle the back end. I'm going to let somebody else handle the operations side of things. So that DevOps concept is what brings people together, ensure that the development of the solution is made very, it's broken down into different phases, and it now brings those different players together. So if your interest is in DevOps, you are very much covered on the Azure platform. So another reason why you need to study or why you need to learn Microsoft Azure is PaaS offerings. Platform as a service it is called. When we talk about cloud, we like to branch it out into SaaS, IaaS, and PaaS, right? So as a developer, when we're developing our softwares, we don't want to start worrying about patching operating system, about licensing, start installing SQL. You just need a platform that you can have access to. And once you're on that platform, you have access to the different tools that you need, which makes your developmental lifecycle much faster and easier, right? Things are just way easier to set up, and it costs you less too as well. Imagine I need to build a solution with a backend. As opposed to spinning up a SQL server, I can just choose to leverage on the PaaS. I can do the Microsoft, choose the PaaS version of SQL Server instead of having a VM, installing SQL Server on the VM. I know that's going to be more costlier for me, right? So PaaS offerings, if you're thinking that, you're pretty much covered on Azure. How about thinking analytics now? For those thinking analytics and machine learning, right? When we talk about analytics, we know it requires huge amount of data that we're talking about here, right? So whether you're talking about having a structured data or an unstructured data, you're covered, with Microsoft Azure. So Microsoft Azure comes bundled with SQL, NoSQL, that you can leverage on. So even you've got support for even blockchain as a service, all embedded in Azure. So then let me wrap up this one with Microsoft Learn also. With any technology that we want to delve into, we want to make sure that there is a very good learning curve, with that technology. That technology, we need to be sure that it's going to be very easy for us to learn, to learn that technology. So I will tell you now, or maybe you already know, so Microsoft gives us tons of documentation that we can use to learn. I mean, with Microsoft Learn, for instance, just like Seun has showed you, you jump on the Microsoft Learn, even when you don't have a free Azure account. There is this part of Microsoft Learn that you can leverage. So you can leverage. It simulates you having a free Azure account to do some Azure commandlets, for instance, right? So Microsoft Learn, make it your very good friend, regardless of the Microsoft technology that you're trying to learn. There are so many free materials. Sometimes you just don't have the funds to attend structured classes. So if you're looking at self-paced learning, you've got a lot of learning up on the Microsoft Learn website. And quickly, before I wrap up, I promised that I was going to show the objectives, right? So let me wrap up with the objective real quick. So I'm going to stop this and let me try to share. Do I have an Explorer, a browser open here? All right, so just a moment here. So good. So if you want to take the AZ 900 exam, please, this is it on Microsoft Learn website. So you get all, you see the skilled measured here. You might want to download the exam skill outline, blow by blow, so you see what is covered specifically in the exam. And like I mentioned to you, the exam changes like every two months. So you have to make sure that you keep coming to this place to see what has changed. So you see, you're going to be tested on, it's divided into about 6, is it 4 or 6 now, domain areas. The first is cloud concepts, so which covers 20% of the exam, where you're going to be learning terminologies, things like availability, scalability, elasticity, so on and so forth. You're going to move on to core Azure services, where you're going to be learning about things like availability group, availability zones, management groups, so on and so forth, right? You will then learn about core solution and management tools on Azure. So here you're going to be learning a little bit about Microsoft Azure machine learning, and also DevOps, a bit of GitOps. You get the picture. And you also have general security and network security features. So where you learn about things like key vaults. So when you need to take your backup, Azure Sentinel, Azure Security Center. You would also touch on governance, privacy, and compliance. So there are a number of tools up on the Azure platform that we can use to make governance happen. So you will learn about that as well. And the last one that is covered is describe Azure cost management and SLA, service level agreement. So where you're going to be learning about tools such as the Azure pricing calculator. You want to submit a proposal to people come to you for an Azure solution. It would be nice to know ahead of time what costing is going to look like, and maybe you want to compare it with the other cloud solution. So the Azure pricing calculator will allow you quickly do that. So this is what is covered in the certification of the AZ 900. So I think with this now, I can call it a wrap here and see if you have any question for me. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Kazeem. And I'm sorry to our participants. We promised to round up by 11, but you can all testify that we need to give Mr. Kazeem some time to explain some concepts. And I hope his section is very impactful to us. So there have been some questions on the chat. So we have Muhammad. Muhammad has asked a question. Muhammad, can you unmute your mic and ask your question now?
Okay, yeah, thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak. Well, what I was asking was that, is the AZ 900 certification enough for employers to employ me as an employee in a company, any company that uses Azure service, of course?
Oh, okay. Whether the AZ 900 is enough, there are certain skills measured in AZ 900. And I also mentioned that it's just foundational skills now. So it covers everything that you have a little bit of here and there with the AZ 900. So now it depends on the role that the employer is looking at. I mean, if I want someone who is a cloud DevOps, well, maybe the AZ900 will not be sufficient then. But if the employer wants someone with some basic knowledge of the cloud that they can groom, that they can train, they're willing to give that opportunity for the person to learn on the job, then this is about enough, right? You have what you need. Then they are going to train you. You already know most of the concepts. So it is now, joining the guys to, to customize sites and learning about, and then asking some of your colleagues, your senior colleagues on the job questions. You understand? But if you're looking at a more advanced role, they want somebody who is going to just report on the job and start going to customer site. Then maybe you need a little bit more. So you need to look at those specific certifications now. And you can't do it all in Azure. You need to choose a role for yourself. Do you want to be an administrator? Do you want to be a developer? Do you want to be a DevOps guy? So do you want to be a security guy? So choose a path first. But the best place to start, fundamental, so it would open your eyes to the different aspect of Azure, and then you can say, me, I think I don't like coding, no, I want to just be an administrator. Oh, me, I like coding, I just want to go for coding. Oh, I have some experience of coding already, so I want to use Agile, so I just want to major in DevOps. You get the picture. So I don't know if I'm able to, if I answer the question correctly, or you need more clarification. Ibrahim, are you good, or do you need me to clarify further?
Yes, yeah. Thank you.
Okay, all right, good.
Okay, can we have Musal Kampar? I'm sorry if I pronounced that wrong. Can we have the other guy that asked question on the chat? Can we have you now? Okay, I think he's not on call again. Okay, in absence of that, can we have other people ask questions?
All right, so let me just ask this question.
You can go ahead, yes.
Right, like free, right?
I don't know. Is it my network? I can't hear your question. Sean,
Right,
can you hear
the
him?
Azure certifications I mentioned?
Okay.
Like,
yes.
Are they like free certifications, or you have to pay money to actually earn them?
Okay. Certifications are not free, right? First, you acquire the skills first. That's the first thing. So once you've acquired the skills, then you want to validate your skill, right? You want people to trust you. When you tell people that I can do this thing, I have something to show for it, I'm certified, then you need to write certifications. So certifications are not free. You pay for them. I showed you the cost for Azure Fundamentals, $99 it is, but sometimes Microsoft give some free vouchers. So just make sure that if you want free vouchers now, so make sure that you are close to the community guys, right? So that maybe you can leverage on some free vouchers from them. And I believe that a lot of people on the call, right, are LASU students. So I'm also going to say this quickly. It will be my joy, that, LASU, when Microsoft start to talk, we can just have LASU also even be at the top of the list, not just Unilag all the time. Let's start saying that, yes, the LASU students are also, when we talk about community participation, they are on top of the list. So the answer is that, yes, you can get free vouchers, but certification is not free. It's something that you have to pay for. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Kazeem. I hope that answers your question, Abisayo.
Yeah, it answered my question. Thank you very much. I'm really grateful.
Yes. Okay. Do you have other participants that would like to ask questions? Do you have other participants that would like to ask questions? Okay. In absence of further questions, I think we can call this a wrap. Thank you, Jaflet. Jaflet is not on the call again. I think I still have Prosper on the call. Prosper is a beta Microsoft student, Lagos State University. So Jaflet is a good student ambassador, and myself, I'm Olu Ashondabri. I'm a beta student ambassador too, a student of Lagos State University. So if you are a Lagos State University student, so we have a WhatsApp group already that you should have joined when you fill this form. So further conversation will go on there, and our community conversation go on there. So more often we'll be having Mr. Kazeem interacting with us, sharing from his wealth of knowledge, and we hope to carry everybody along and deliver a very good community services to other students too. Thank you. Thank you for coming for this section. Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.